All right, welcome everyone. Welcome to the Talent Show, where you will meet the people that power TTEC. We're so glad that you are joining us here today for this very exciting conversation. I'm Rebecca and will be your host. So, thank you so much for joining us because we are going to be spotlighting an amazing career journey. Someone who started out as a referral and then has received some amazing recognition through the revenue generation program that he works with. So today's spotlight is on Joshua Levin. He's a senior manager and, as I just shared, a recent Platinum Club honoree, which is a really amazing recognition for our global team. And we're going to explore his journey, his leadership mindset, and the moments that brought him to his career and where he is at today. Before we meet Josh, though, we would love to meet you. It's one of my favorite parts of the show where we get the opportunity to meet people from around the world. So please do drop in the chat where you're joining us from today. We're going to be talking a lot about the power of network and making global connections. So this is your opportunity to meet some people from around the globe. So without further ado, let's bring on Josh Levin so he can share more about his journey and offer everyone listening today some amazing advice and inspirational stories that can help propel you on your career forward as well. I love it, Josh. We were just joking backstage, everyone. I've been calling him Joshua for about 5 years now. And we just got to the point where he said, maybe you could just call me Josh, right?
That is correct. Well, hey everyone. Hey, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you're at. Pleasure to be here. Good seeing you again, Rebecca.
Nice to see you too. And Josh, just some people in the comments before we get to your story. Lynn is joining us from Ohio. Lynn, so glad that you're here with us. Tara's tuning in from Colorado. Shatan from India. So Leon from the Philippines. There we go. Here comes the global audience kicking in here today. So it'll be the perfect way to start talking about your journey here at TTEC and the amazing people that you work with as well. So let's get started with just what we were mentioning your Platinum Club winner. We'll talk more about that. You're currently a senior manager. You've had an amazing journey here. So we'll get to that in a second. But let's just start out with why is your role today meaningful to you? And what keeps you motivated every day? That because you always come in with such an amazing attitude. And I love working alongside you.
Appreciate it. Likewise. So a really good question. I think one of the most meaningful things to me is just the ability that I'm given here at TTEC to network both internally and externally. And by that I mean obviously with the TTEC folks, but also with the clients that we support on a daily basis. I truly feel that that is super empowering. It gives me the ability to continue learning more about people, their cultures, their wants and needs. And it ultimately allows me to cater to the way that I am treating people. And again, that goes back to just some of TTEC's values, seeking first to understand. So that is definitely one of my biggest motivating factors. And I can tell you this, it has definitely helped me both personally and professionally just try to define my life, define my career path. And I truly live by that every single day.
I love it. So for the audience, it's a great opportunity to find your life, to find your career path when you align with values. And I love that you have this sense of curiosity about you, which we'll talk a lot more about, which definitely plays into the seek to understand. Just want to drop into the chat real quick and say hello to Jay, hello to Monique from the Philippines. Amir is also tuning in from the Philippines. And as Tara said, so exciting to see so many great people from across the globe. So, all right. I kicked it off with you started off as a referral here at TTEC as an associate, and you're currently in a leadership role. So, could you tell us a little bit about what helped you to navigate your career and what is that path that got you here today? Kind of the Josh TTEC
Yep.
origin story, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. So first and foremost, I'm going to apologize to all of you because it is probably going to be a pretty long-winded answer. But I'm sure you can all tell, I'm not originally from America, but I am based in Tempe, Arizona, in the US. I'm originally from Johannesburg, South Africa, born and raised, lived there most of my life. I worked throughout the world, many different countries, and at some point in my life, I essentially realized that family is a lot more important than I believed it to be as a youngster. And I ultimately decided to move to the US to be closer to my family since they've been living in the US for 20 or 25 years or more. Came to America, struggled initially acclimating to the way of life here, as well as trying to change career paths and trajectory. When I first moved to the US, I worked in many different industries. Again, complete 180 degree from what I was used to. Coming from a military and private military background, I started working in a few different industries. Started off as a delivery driver, then I moved into art galleries, then I went into yachting, then I went into many other fields, and then ultimately moved to Arizona, where I actually met someone quite organically, and I was at that point already applying for multiple jobs. And when I say multiple, I mean probably hundreds of jobs at that point, just trying to find something that actually spoke to me and that gave me the satisfaction that I needed in a job. And while I was applying, I got rejected for 95% of the jobs. Most of the reasoning was, hey, you don't have a degree, you didn't go to college. Yes, I went to the military straight after high school. And that was extremely demoralizing. It was demotivating. But then when I met this person, she actually started telling me a little bit about TTEC. She spoke very highly of the company, and I was like, you know what, this sounds really interesting. Let me ask a little bit more about it and see if I can actually get into this company. A few days later, she actually submitted my information as a referral. Within a few days after her submitting the information, someone from the TA team reached out to me and they started giving me a little bit more information about the business. I still didn't really know what was happening. It was all very new to me, but very exciting at the same time. And ultimately went through the interview process. I think I went through around three rounds. And after that, I started off as an associate in one of the programs that we have here in Tempe. And I was in that role for about 6 or 7 months, loving what I was doing. I was hitting 280% to goal every single month. It was really exciting. It was motivating. The people that I was working with were absolutely incredible and still till this day are incredible. And I said to myself, you know what, I want to see where I can go in this industry and what opportunities this company can offer me. So I went on to our internal job portal and I saw positions there. And I truly didn't know what these positions were either. Again, new industry and all. I took a leap of faith. I applied for one of the first positions that I saw. And it was, I think at the time it was called an operations analyst, which in fact it wasn't. It was a dedicated project manager for the program that I was already working for. And when I interviewed for that position, I think it was about 2 weeks later, they got back to me. They said, you have been selected for the position. I started off, I was super excited. There was a lot to learn about the program as a whole, since I was just in one particular line of business. And it just broadened my horizons. It showed me a much larger side of TTEC. And then from that point on, I continued to grow within that particular role and within that particular team. Ultimately, continued to serve the same program that I originally started in, but then eventually moving over to support all of RevGen and all of our other clients that we have. And that gave me an even bigger view of the company, understanding, hey, we're not just in this little bubble, we're not just in this site, we're a national, we're a global organization. And I started working with our teams globally for the same client, for different clients. And that just gave me so much confidence and so much motivation to continue working my way up and continuing to network and meet all of the great folks that we have here at the company. So I think, in short, I've been with TTEC, I think, for about 7 years now, if I'm not mistaken. And I've been promoted, I believe, 6 times during that time. So it definitely speaks to the career pathing that we have here in the company. But it also speaks to the opportunities that you can give yourself by taking it upon yourself to actually look and see what is out there. And again, just take that leap of faith. You may not know what the position is. You may get rejected 100 times, but never let that deter you. You can always go and apply and apply and apply. And the most important piece to know is just ask for that feedback. Ask for that hiring manager to tell you, hey, why did I not get this position? When you do that, you're ultimately able to go and figure out what do you need to work on to ensure that the next time you interview for it, you are able to get the position. But like I said, long-winded answer, and I hope that gave you all a good idea of where I'm at today, what I had to overcome when starting off at TTEC. And I know we didn't really allude to what I currently do right now. So I still support the same org within RevGen, dedicated to one specific program, but supporting multiple clients across the globe as the senior operations manager and global project manager for this org. And then recently, I was also promoted to the site director of the Hayden Ferry site. So a lot of good growth, a lot of good trajectory, and again, it just shows what you can do when you put your head down and put in the hard work.
I love it because I think your story resonates with so many people, especially in today's environment. That was 7 years ago, and I think the same thing can ring true today. You know, people not feeling like they're getting those interviews, acing the interviews moving
Yep.
forward. So your leap of faith, the showing the resilience, keep trying, is probably something that everyone here who has been recently looking for a role can definitely get behind.
Yep.
And so I really love the leap of faith. Something we always hear from people that are on the talent show is the importance of saying yes. And I think alongside that goes that leap of faith. And
Yep.
congratulations on the site director for Hayden Ferry. I am
Thank you.
here in Tempe, and I know that is a very amazing site, clients, and the people that you work alongside. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Just real quick over to the chat to say hello to Lavinia, says, hi, Josh and Rebecca, tuning in from the Philippines. Kashish is watching from India as well. Lance over to Cape Town, South
I see
Africa.
that one of my fellows.
Hello, Lance. Thanks for tuning in. Rishab is also joining us. And I can't see it says LinkedIn story or LinkedIn user, cool story, bro. So had to say that. I'm not quite sure who that was from, but it is a very cool story. That is for sure. So, as you were talking about, and I know over the years, the importance of that mentorship, the ownership piece, like again, working alongside you in your project manager role, I know you take ownership. So, what are some of the ways those have influenced your growth here at TTEC and in your career?
Again, good question. So, one thing that I strongly believe in, and I keep going back to this, and I will always keep going back to it, is it's truly the people that I work with. Since I started here at TTEC, I was welcomed into the TTEC family. We certainly try our hardest to act as one, and with the leadership that I've had over this time, I can tell you that one of the biggest motivating factors of their leadership is the fact that they always have an open door policy, and that has rubbed off on me 100% as well. I see the way that my VPs, the SVPs, all of these people that we have super high up in the company, they do not shy away from having an associate or someone that's just starting off their career come up to them and ask them questions, no matter how silly it seems. We always encourage people to come up to us no matter what. Doesn't matter how silly the question is, doesn't matter um, what your want is of that connection. It's just a matter of um, instilling confidence in the people that you work with, and they've done a fantastic job at that. And I hope that me working with the team that I work with today as well, that I can hopefully instill that same confidence and help make people feel a lot more comfortable in the work environment. So those are definitely contributing factors to the way that I work today, and it's something that I put a lot of emphasis on in everything that I do.
Yeah, I think that's such an important point about the being open to asking questions, having that open door policy. It reminds me just this week we were helping to meet somebody new to the team, and she asked basically like, when do I like kind of stop playing the new card and have to know the answers. And I too have been here, Josh, about the same amount of time you've been here, and because the dynamic world that we're in, I think we're always new. We're always
Yep,
going to be asking questions. We might be experts, but just due to timing, but there's always something new to learn. So I love that you
absolutely.
encourage people to ask questions
Yep.
along the way. So,
Yeah, and just to add on to that, Rebecca. So it's not just in work, it's in every aspect of life. Think about it. If you're traveling the world and you want to learn about a culture, you want to learn about whether it's an ethnicity, a religion, whatever it is, or the country that you're traveling to, just do what we always say at TTEC, ask those five W's. The moment you ask those five W's, it gives you so much of a better understanding than you would have originally had if you didn't ask that. So never be afraid of asking the question.
yeah, that's a perfect example of it blends over from work life to personal life, that ability to ask the questions, be vulnerable to doing that, and then staying curious too.
Yep.
So hey, we're going to kick it over to you, the audience, because we'd love to learn from you a question, which is, what is one skill or habit or mindset that you have that has helped you to grow? Again, back to what Josh was saying, both personally and professionally as well. And I do love, Josh, your in your teams, you have a little phrase that says, "Do the best you can until you know better, then do better." And I think that is, I love every time I see it. It kind of puts a smile on my face, and it's like, all right, we can do what we know, and then once we know it, let's get her done, right?
Amen to that. Yeah, that's definitely one of my favorite quotes. I use it religiously, and I'm glad that you saw it there in my teams. So thank you.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we know that you've had quite the journey here at TTEC, and so many people in the chat, when we get new opportunities, it might get us out of our comfort zone. We might feel like imposters. That imposter syndrome might set in. So, what are some of the ways that as you embrace new challenges, that when self-doubt maybe creeps in, what are some tools that you have that helps you kind of, or network or support systems that you have built that help you push through to the next level?
Yet again, a good question. So for me, coming from coming from the military and having a very strict upbringing, I was always very afraid to ask for help or to communicate about my feelings or my emotions. And I believe very, very firmly that if you find someone that you trust enough and that you are open with, you can 100% go to that person, have a shoulder to lean on, try and connect with them and just vent. Honestly, a real good venting session goes such a long way. Um, some of me and some of my colleagues, we have venting sessions daily, weekly, it doesn't matter how often. And after those sessions, we feel absolutely incredible. It's like water under the bridge. And that is something that I definitely encourage people to do is just go open up. Don't be afraid to talk. I know how daunting and how scary that is to go open up to someone, especially a stranger. And I would argue that I would say sometimes opening up to a stranger is probably better because who are they to judge? So yeah, go after that. Don't be afraid and just be you.
I love it. We just had our guest, Janelle, was on a couple weeks ago, and it's May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And she threw out a 31-day challenge to us. And part of that could be building your network, building your community, finding that one person. And she mentioned even if it's your pet that you can talk to and get it out, or turn to our EAP if you're part of TTEC, but to find that person that you can have those sessions with. So
Yep,
Josh, just real quick over to the chat. Lavinia says, one mindset that has helped her to grow is allowing herself to be a beginner, staying curious and never hesitating to ask questions. I think that resonates with a lot of our conversation here today. Leanne says she always tries to stay curious, take action, and keep learning. For me, progress is more important than perfection. Ooh, Leanne, that's
love
one of
it.
my absolute faves. I love it. Progress before perfection.
Yep,
And then Monique also shares her favorite TTEC value is reach for amazing. She tries her best to produce excellent output. And I think that resonates with your quote too about do the best you can.
yep,
And then when you know, do better.
yep.
So
And
thank
you know, one other thing that I think is super important for people to remember is like I know I've personally done this 1,001 times is whenever I feel that I'm struggling or I have a moment of doubt, I just try to look back at my successes. And when I look back at those successes, I try to remind myself, in order to achieve that particular success, how many obstacles, how many hurdles, how many downfalls did I have, or how many rejections did I have up until I actually achieved that? And that to me is so motivating and humbling because it allows me to remind myself of what I had to overcome in order to achieve that. And most people tend to focus on, hey, you know what? I achieved that. That was the success, but they forget everything they had to do that led to that.
Yeah, that's a really good. We talk a lot on the talent show about we really have to direct our brains. There, we have to take control and do that self-talk. And so I love what you're saying is like remind yourself of the steps that you had to take to get there, and reinforce that that you can do it, or that you can align yourself with the people that can help you instill that confidence, like you said earlier, Josh, or staying curious, like many of the people in the audience here today. So, okay, we're getting down to the last couple minutes with you, Josh. One of the things that I mentioned earlier, I love, and that you have such amazing experience at here is working with a global team. So, why is that important to you here at TTEC? And maybe what's one or two takeaways that we can all have as partnering with people around the world as we do practically every day in our jobs?
Yep. Yeah, so I think this ties back to quite a few of the points that I've hit on here, and that's just truly understanding the folks that you're working with, trying to understand where they're coming from, how you as a person need to cater your approach. I can tell you all personally, when I first moved to the US, I struggled a lot acclimating in terms of the way that I speak because coming from South Africa, and those of you that are on the call from South Africa, you will know we're a lot more abrupt, a lot more blunt. Some would say vulgar in some cases. And I had to change that quite a lot in the US to cater it to the audience at hand. And that happens every single meeting that we're in. We're meeting with someone where they're from Mexico, Philippines, Poland. We're always having to understand the audience, change the way that we deliver a message. And I think by traveling, that gives you that understanding. It helps you learn more about those people and just develop yourself because if we aren't modifying ourselves, how can we expect them to modify the way that they are, whether it's to cater to the business environment or their personal life as well? We all need to take a close look at ourselves and try to fix what we can and know that we are not perfect. That's perfectly okay not to be perfect.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I love everything that you just said. The cool thing is that while we do have the opportunity to travel here at TTEC, I probably travel to about 10 different countries in a given week just by jumping on a Teams call with people. So I get that opportunity to meet new people, experience different cultures without really ever leaving my desk, which is pretty awesome. So Josh, as we wrap up, one final question, and we always love to leave our audience with some advice that they can apply into their careers too. So I'm going to jump back to a question I was going to ask a little earlier. But what is your advice for someone who's maybe new to leadership, who wants to grow and develop into that role? What would you suggest to them to take away to grow their career?
I think I'd actually circle back to the quote that you had, or that you paraphrased from my status. So just do the best you can until you know better, and then when you know better, do better. As a leader and as someone coming into a new role, expect to fail. If you aren't failing, you aren't achieving. You're gonna have so many downfalls, and it's a matter of keeping really good people around you in your circle that will go to bat for you and that will understand that you have the best intentions at heart. And if you have those people in your corner, I guarantee you, you are going to succeed. And when you succeed, you're going to take those people up with you. And when those people succeed, they're going to take you up with them as well. So it's a matter of, again, networking. It's a matter of teamwork. And again, being a military person, teamwork is everything. And here at TTEC, we do strive towards instilling that teamwork ethic in everyone. And yeah, I definitely encourage you to follow that, to follow those quotes and those motivational factors, I guess.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I think that everyone listening here today has some amazing things that they can take away and apply like today in their career to help them build whatever level they are in a company, or if they're in a job search to help them remain resilient and take that leap of faith. So Josh, thank you so much for your time today, for your partnership over the years. I really look forward to our future conversations together. And Hayden Ferry, super cool site. We're going to talk about it in a minute. So thank you so much, Josh. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you all. Thank you, Rebecca. Have a good one.
Thank you. Bye. All right, everyone. If you're inspired by Josh's story, we have some jobs for you. So please do head over to ttechjobs.com. We're going to highlight just two of the many jobs, from bilingual jobs in Warsaw to leadership roles in South Africa to remote roles in the United States. We've kind of got you covered depending where you are in the world. So please take a look at ttechjobs.com, get to know us, get to know our people. And if you happen to be near Tempe, Arizona, again, kind of my hometown, we are looking for a manager to support many of the programs that types of clients that Josh was just talking about. So if you're ready to uplift people, work with clients and people from around the world, this could be a great opportunity for you. Our team's dropping it in the chat, so please be sure to check it out. And then, okay, I guess today's jobs are near and dear to me. This is actually a role on my team. So if you are located in Mexico City in Mexico, we are looking for an employee engagement analyst. This is a great opportunity to meet all those people around the world, those people leaders that Josh was just sharing about, and helping to make sure that TTEC continues to be a great place to work. So you'll be joining our team. We call it the Smitey Squad. We're small but mighty, and we have an opportunity to really make an impact on people around the globe through our analysis, through our support of our employee surveys, and our listening. So take a look. It's in the chat. If you're in Mexico City or you happen to know someone in Mexico City, I'd love for them to take a peek and maybe join our team. Thank you so much to Josh today for sharing his insight, for his journey, and to each of you for sharing where you are from in the chat or what helps you to grow your career as well. We appreciate you tuning in. We know there's so many things vying for your attention. Thank you so much for your journey. Until next time, keep growing, keep learning. We'll see you back here in 2 weeks. Have a wonderful rest of your week.